All right, that brings us to the District Innovation Plan.
Okay, thank you. This has been an exciting process, and I might add one that has been long and complicated. I'll just remind you that the House Bill 1842 that was passed by the 84th Legislative Session allowed districts to go for a District of Innovation. We shared with the board the DOI concept and requirements. In May, you passed a resolution that allowed us to move forward, and then tonight we're going to be reviewing that plan. The law allowed you several areas that you could waive requirements, and so we put all of the ones up there that the law addressed, and X'd out those things that we are absolutely not interested in proposing. However, as we worked with our committee, time became the major constraint that really caused us not to be able to be responsive. And we really went to our district strategic plan, and there were 3 words that constantly came up over and over again. One was, we want to be a district of high integrity. We want to be a district that's responsive to the needs of our students and our staff. And then we want to be a district that's innovative. So what was the barrier? What's the constraint? And time over and over again came up. So the calendar, through the District of Innovation, we have the ability to waive the requirement of the start date. We also looked at minimum minutes of instruction, and the fact that sometimes the way the law is written, we're more focused on seat time instead of learning time. And when you go virtual and expand the ability of students to learn beyond the classroom, then minutes are not quite as important. Seat time is not what the real factor is. It's how much time are they actually spending in learning. And then this 90% attendance rule, we still will be have compulsory attendance. We still know, Katie, how important it is to get kids to school. But the law now says that if you're not there in the classroom 90% of the time, then you have to have a committee that convenes and decides whether or not to give the student credit. So these were the ones that we did not, these are the ones that we want to waive. There should be an X on teacher certification, and I just failed to have that done. But we did not want to address that. We still want highly qualified teachers in our classroom. Oh, there it is. Okay. I just needed a button. All right. So here are the 3 requirements again. Here's the process. First, we had to research other DOI plans. Then we brainstormed problems and potential solutions. We had a subcommittee reviewed the problems and solutions with district stakeholders. We identified areas for relief and possible solutions. We drafted a plan by the subcommittee. Then we reviewed and got feedback on each of those actions. We planned. We actually had people involved in revising those recommendations from the various committee members. We took all of this to the T committee last week and had a wonderful opportunity to get even more feedback from a larger audience. So we combined both committees, and from that review, 3 people really worked on taking all that feedback and coming back with the plan that you have in your board packet. And I would like to recognize Julie Hyman, Kristen Cavanis, and Debbie Neggs, who actually, we did a rotation where committee members went around and they reviewed the 3 objectives and the various actions, and then took all that feedback and actually wordsmith. So here are the 3. We asked people to say with a green dot for each action that, yes, I support this. use sticky notes, blue sticky notes, to say, I can support this, but please consider this revision. And then we had a yellow dot for those things that people did not support. After we got all that feedback, we actually revised the plan. And so here are the 3 objectives. We want to use the DOI process to maximize learning for all students based on mastery learning approaches. Again, things that our teachers will have to be trained on how to do this, where exposure to content is limitless and not time-bound or location-specific. We want to embrace, implement, and support innovative approaches that expand the opportunity for students and staff to personalize and enrich learning based upon a multiple-tiered indicator system that goes beyond what the state uses in the accountability. We want to align to our new Birdville Portrait of a Graduate and look for ways that we can use that portrait to say, yes, we're interested, we want our kids to do well on the STAR and the EOC, but here are other ways that our students go beyond that. And then we want to operate efficiently to maximize resources and empower teachers to address student-identified needs for optimal learning. So I think that we really came up with a very realistic and doable plan. As you look at this first objective, we only have 3 actions: to develop and offer more online learning opportunities for acceleration, intervention, credit recovery, and enrichment. By the way, I think I heard Mr. Tolbert talk about the foreign language. We're looking right now at a program that would allow our students at elementary to have online learning for foreign language in multiple languages, not just Spanish or Mandarin, but they could do French, Farsi, or many other kinds of languages. So we're looking at that program right now. Investigate and develop the best model for Birdville students who want to simultaneously complete high school while earning up to 60 post-secondary credit hours. We're already working with TCC to see about developing a memorandum of understanding for that. To investigate, design, and implement elementary schools of choice, such as Early Childhood Center, a Gifted and Talented Academy. When we say non-graded, we're not talking about we're talking about chronological age. There's nothing magic about putting a 5-year-old with a kindergarten if they are capable of doing other higher level standards. And then a STEM and STEAM, Fine Arts Academy, Humanities, Language. We're just looking at the possibility of what if we did some schools of choice and we had specialization. What about that possibility? The second objective, we had 2, and that is to develop and investigate and develop a plan to purchase a data management system that has functionality where we know exactly where every student is, and that we can actually help to develop a pathway that would help each student know exactly where they are in that learning progression so that teachers could more personalize their instruction. We have looked at several systems. We know that this is possible and that it's not far-fetched. It would allow a classroom teacher to establish a dashboard for their classroom, as well as campuses to do that as well. Then to look at a community-based accountability system that includes indicators such as our Portrait of a Graduate, authentic assessments that reflect real-world applications such as project-based learning and capstone projects, community-based service, are measures for our students who are very creative and innovative. Then the last one, we have 3, and this one is interesting for students who are in dual credit. You finish your course before the students who are not taking dual credit. So you have a period of time, I think it's about 3 weeks, where the student's doing nothing. Well, we want to develop mini-semester courses that students can sign up for and complete within that time frame so that they can earn more credit. And then develop a plan to support teachers in implementing a school of choice that is non-graded and based on mastery with pathways for elementary students. What we are realizing that we have so many kids that show up at the door that are so far behind, and that time is the issue. We need to have a way to, in order for them to go through the curriculum, they need to have more than 175 days of instruction. So establish alternate start times for high schools, including Shannon as a pilot in the Raise Your Hand Texas Blended Learning Grant. So these are some of the things that the committee, I'm going to tell you, this committee was outstanding. They came together, they really looked at some out-of-the-box thinking and realized that whatever we present, I think we said we're going to investigate and research before we implement it, and it's all, so it's up to the board about what particular things get selected. The board does approve the posting. That's the next thing. That's the thing that we need from you tonight, is to be able to approve us to post this District of Innovation plan, and that it gives time for us to continue to refine the plan and to schedule a public meeting on the proposed plan. And then after that public meeting, then we come back to the board for final approval. The timeline really looks like this. Of course, you're familiar with everything from May to September. The new part of that is that tonight we're actually presenting the plan. And if you approve us to post that plan on our website, it has to stay there for 30 days. And then we then can notify the commissioner tomorrow that Birdville ISD has posted this plan on their website. And then October the 25th, we would conduct a public meeting and present the final plan to the T committee, where they have to vote to approve the plan, and then we bring it back to the board on October the 27th for a final as a separate action item. And the law is very specific that you have to have this posting, you have to have a public meeting, and the board has to approve the plan right following that public meeting. Then we send it to the TEA, and once we do that, then we have a district. We're considered a district of innovation. Now, I think it's important that the board note below that any substantive change to how Birdville ISD does business will be effectuated through policy changes only. And those policy changes have to be voted on the board. So the District of Innovation cannot change policy. The plan is a 5-year plan and can be amended by the board at any time. And some of these actions can say, at some point in time, you can say, well, we don't want to do that. So that so the board has complete control over what we do. And that would be what we would do in November and December, so that if it is approved and we can adjust the calendar, then the first thing the calendar committee would be able to make that adjustment on the start date. I'm happy to answer any questions.